Hello friends, welcome to my program Colonel's Punch. Today I am going to speak on the legendary Queen of Malwa, Maharani Ahilyabai Holkar. Maharani Ahilyabai Holkar will go down in the history of this country for ages. Her rule of 30 years nearly, from 1767 to 1795, is the golden period of Indian history. She brought full peace and progress to the Malwa region. Her governance was a model state. Her welfare spread far and wide. She has been compared with the greatest of women leaders, that is Catherine II of Russia and Elizabeth I of Great Britain. Ahilyabai was born in village Chondi in Ahmednagar district. Her background was very simple, and her father, Mankojirao Shinde, was a shepherd from Dhankar family. Now here there is a twist for her to come into royalty. She was a very cheerful girl, and she was playing in a village and making sand Lord Shiva links. And all of a sudden, hordes of galloping horses with soldiers came towards them. All the girls ran, but Ahilyabai stood her ground and protected her Shiva ling made out of sand. In these horsemen was Malwa of Holkar, the chief. He was very appreciative of her courage and of her faith to withstand anything. She was just 8 years old. So Ahilyabai now marries Malwa of Holkar's son, Khanderao. Khanderao was just 12 and Ahilyabai 10. Now these two children came under the wings of the great Maratha soldier, Malwa of Holkar. Now Malwa of Holkar was the fighting general or chieftain under the Peshwas. You know, the Battle of Delhi and the Battle of Bhopal in 1737 pushed the Maratha Empire ahead. Thereafter, he was along with Peshwas and Scindias, Dabades and Gaikwads in Battle of Vasai in 1739. Thereafter, there was a whirlwind tour. Delhi was captured in 1754 and the Maratha's army went towards Sirhind, across Lahore, across river Sindh, that is Indus, and the Maratha flag, the famous Zari Patka, Sindh Ulaundun, was on the attack fort. Now, Malwa was a great warrior, but he wanted his son and daughter-in-law to be highly educated, inspired diplomats, and one who will keep the dynasty, Holkar dynasty of Malwa, going for ages. So, in real earnest, for the first time, Ahilya started learning. The Brahmins, the teachers, refused to teach a lady. But then sense prevailed, and Ahilya and Khanderao started their education. They learned about the nation, about the world, about religion in Sanskrit. Thereafter, it was time for them to learn diplomacy. Malwa all the time, Malwa all the time was with them, talking about statesmanship, talking about how to look after the people, talking about religion. And then came a time when they graduated to military training. Now, horse riding, galloping, fence fighting, sword fighting, all this rigorous training both these children went through. They were shining. Malwa took them to expeditions. Khanderao was in the front, and the entire administration was looked after by Ahilyabai. Ahilyabai understood how to wage war, how to make battles, how to make strategy, how to fight tactics. So she was now poised. Both Khanderao and Ahilyabai with the two eyes of Malwa of Holkar. Here comes the twist. When Ahilyabai was 29 years old, in the Battle of Khmer in 1754, her husband, Khanderao, was killed by a direct cannon hit that left her shattered. But then Malwa Holkar, the father-in-law, had great trust in Ahilyabai. Ahilyabai took expeditions to Gwalior and there forward when Malwa was fighting in North India. She used to carry or organize trails of cannons. She used to manufacture. Hundreds of men were manufacturing cannonballs. She knew about explosives. So here was she now forging into a sword of Malwa. She was in the battlefront, she was able to organize, and she was a great administrator. Now the fate takes turn again. She is just about 42 years old, and it is 1766 when the great Maratha warrior Malwa dies in Alampur. In a short time, just after 1 year, in 1777, Ahilya's ailing son, young boy, also dies. Therefore, she was now a woman, a warrior woman, and Malwa looked after to it. She was brave. But then, as it happens, the Peshwa's uncle, Raghava, he took an army and he wanted to usurp Malwa. Here was the leader now, Ahilyabai, faced him. She was mounted on her elephant and with two big bows and arrows of queues of arrows on the hudwa, on the platform, she led her army. And then she sent a diplomatic note. Look, Peshwa, If you win or even if you lose, you will be shamed fighting a Maratha queen. Raghava was shocked. He halted at Ujjain and retreated. This is what, Ahilya achieved. And thereafter, immediately the Peshwa of Pune recognized her. Imagine, in those times, to recognize Ahilyabai and to allow her to reign the Malwa region. Malwa region was surrounded from one side by the Mughals, the other side by the Deccan satraps or sultanates. Then you had the Jats, Rajputs, all wanting a piece of pie. Then there were the French, Portuguese, and English. For 30 years she reigned. The moment she took over, she said, I reign in the name of Lord Shiva. You remember that? She had made that small mound as a child, for which she wanted to protect it at all cost. Now she said, her name will not come in her proclamations, in her letters, in her treaties. It will be written Sri Shankar. So in the name of Sri Shankar, she started her reign. The reign which became the most golden period of India. Now, first thing she did was she appointed her army chief. And from there on, she got going. She got her forts, shifted her capital to Maheshwar. Build forts, build defenses, and she knew she'll have to fight. So she got the French cannons, the French army officers, to train in modern warfare. So here it is, a modern army was being trained on the plains and hills of Malwa. Her diplomacy got the bills on her side, the guns on her side. She was able to forge a weapon now. The Rajputs, the Mughals, understood that here was a powerful lady and they could not take any chances. She was able to get cooperation from most of the people. Now here is where Ahilyabai started her administration. Once the whole Malwa region secured, first she went towards the agriculture. The farmers were made their wells dug, canals everywhere, plenty of water, storage. And with that, a revolution took place. It is said that when there were famine in north, people came to Ahilyabai for food and water. It became the land of milk and honey. Her administration now. She empowered women, gave them education, gave them the right to property. So the women were happy and honored. Then traders and commerce. Wow, Maheshwar, she had her own weaving cooperative. All around her state, she saw that armory and swords and weapons were made and artisans were looked after. It was a grand era. Then came literature, music, great people, musicians, and shairs came to her court, she was a very artistic and humble lady. She looked after poor. Then to see the welfare of our state, what we say, communications and, build-ups. She built roads, she planted trees, and she had guest houses all along the road so that trade and commerce could go. The infrastructure, what you call today, she had already managed it during that time. That is what was Ahilyabai. But Ahilyabai did not stop there. You remember 300 to 400 years of foreign rule had destroyed the Indian customs, heritage, and thousands of temples. He went straight because the Maratha Empire had grown, the stature had grown, the power was there, and she started rebuilding. She went to Viswanath at Kashi, which was destroyed by Aurangzeb 120 years earlier. She got it done. She got Somnath temple done. Ghazni, who raided nearly 17 times. Then from Somnath to Dwarka, from south Rameshwaram to north Kedarnath, Badrinath. She had nearly 1,500 temples restored to its glory. She saw that there were dharamshalas there, there were free kitchens, and there places where people could learn religion and Sanskrit and culture. She was also equally respecting the other religions, the Muslims, the Christians, the Parsis. So in all, she built a terrific empire, unparalleled in the history of India. She was a big, great philosopher. She had told Peshwa that the Britishers were very dangerous. They are like, you can always trap a tiger or a lion and kill it. But Britishers were like bears. They will hug you also and they will tickle you to death. Be careful of them. She wanted the Rajputs, Sikhs, Muslims all to get together and not fight in between, but fight the foreigners who had come all the way from Europe. She had a mind of her own. So that did not happen. Later, the three Anglo-Maratha wars, the two Anglo-Sikh wars, and slowly the power was going. But she had predicted this. Jawaharlal Nehru, in what we call the discovery of India, has written about it. He has praised her. He's called her the laying the foundation of modern India. Annie Besant, the Irish lady who became the first Congress president. She was all for self-rule. She said Ahilya was the greatest. She had consolidated everyone. And she will be always be famous. The Nizam of Hyderabad praised Ahilyabai, and he said, there is no leader like her, no woman like her. The British historian Kay said she was very wise, the wisest. She was a philosopher lady. And India should be proud of her. Well, the entire religious heads of India at Kashi, Badrinath, Kedarnath, Somnath got together and bestowed her the high and mighty and religious title of saint. Punyashlok, she was called. Punyashlok Ahilyabai. That means a saint, a person of great character and wisdom. Nothing like this has ever happened. Earlier, a similar honor was given to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. But Ahilyabai surpasses all because she rebuilt nearly 1,500 temples and created a source of light and inspiration for Indian culture. Well, she attained her sainthood on the banks of river Narmada. And later, 200 years later, another saint was born in Narmada. That was Mahatma Gandhi. Imagine what Narmada has given. Is there anyone still holding? Your choice as good as mine. The great Ahilyabai Holkar breathed lost on 13 August 1795. She was 70 years old. She was succeeded by her nephew, a great general, her own army chief, army commander-in-chief, Tukojirao Holkar. Tukojirao Holkar was the confidant of the great Malwa Holkar. Malwa Holkar had trained him also and had seen many a great wars. Therefore, the reign of Malwa went into safe hands. Jai Hind, Jai Sri Shankar, Jai Hind. Thank you.